to get brothing. In fact, we're going to do turkey broth today. And part of the reason why I was kind of excited about doing a turkey broth is because it just happened that I was making some turkey necks this week for dinner. And I thought to myself, you know, there's something else I can get. I can get some more value out of this turkey neck. You know, everything is costing more money now. And so because of that, we need to try to get as much value out of our food as possible. So I use turkey necks to make this particular broth today. So this will be my first time as well. The broth I did before on the video that you saw was beef bone, grass-fed and finished bone, beef bone. So this one's going to be turkey neck broth. So we're going to see how this works out today, okay? And hopefully to give you some ideas of things you can do so that you don't waste your scraps. If we can get more out of it, we should try to get more out of it. No need for anyone to be buying broth when we can make it ourselves. Okay. Awesome. So let me tell you what my process was for my broth. I didn't do anything. It was already seasoned because I seasoned it for the actual meat that was on it. So all I did was put it in a crock pot. Let me see if I can turn my video around so you can see the crock pot. Yes. So I just put it in a crock pot, as you can see, and just let it cook. Now, I think I probably let it cook longer than it probably needed to because I did like 48 hours plus, and I don't really think like it really needed that. But one of the things that I do like about turkey, unlike beef, is that it's not as much fat, so it should be a lot easier for us to clean it and do everything else. So before we get into the process of removing the bones and the fat and then straining it, we're going to go ahead and sterilize our jars. And primarily the reason why I'm going to sterilize the jars is because it'll also help to get it warm before time. So, my assistant, please. We're going to take this big pot over to the sink. And this is where it gets a little tricky because, you know, this pot is bigger than my sink. So, hold it. Okay. I'm trying to fit this in as best we can. So that we can fill it with water. And since we're going to let it get so hot, I'm not going to be too worried about the fact that this is not, you know, purified water because it's going to be sterilized. Any chlorine or anything else that's in it is going to be gone by the time it finishes heating up. So as you can see, in fact, I could have made my process easier by starting with hot water. How about that? And so look, I also want to tell you about these superb lids. So these are the seals you want. They seal very good, very well to your jars, and you don't have to worry about whether or not it takes you 5 years, 10 years to eat the broth, finding molds in your broth, because these have been tested to be very, very faithful in holding things, holding your food. So what you definitely want to make sure of after you done put all this work, spend all this money, is that you have a really good seal that's going to last the test of time. And so these are made in the USA by actually a regenerative farmer. I got a chance to actually meet him and his family. This is something about knowing the people who are making the products that you use. You know what I mean? Okay, so now I don't have to fill it all the way up. I think I'm going to fill it up enough. Yes, it is heavy. So we're going to bring this over here. Whew. And we're going to go ahead and let that get hot. That's what we're going to do. All right, so while that is getting hot, I've already prepped my space because what we're going to do over here is first get rid of the bones. So I'm going to get a slighted spoon. Okay. Now, this is going to be really hot because I've been keeping it warm since I was past my 28 hours. In fact, I'm going to probably use something. There's no need to burn myself in the process of trying to do this. To pull this out. Okay. And so, we're ready to take the bones out. So I had one bone that was given to me that my mother-in-law, she don't mind me saying, donated to the cause. So you see this one turkey bone that was in here, which is good because you can tell it has wing. You can see the marrow in it. And so as you see, the rest of these are turkey neck bones. And you can see the fat at the top of this meat. We're taking all of this out. Some people may not want to be on camera. Right. Okay, so this is what I want you to think about while I'm doing this. If you have chicken, like you get a whole chicken, these are things you can do with a whole chicken too. You know, after you finish eating, you've got bones left. You can take those bones and you can make your own broth. Because I don't know about you, but chicken broth is expensive too. Not as expensive as grass-fed bone broth, but it's expensive as well, and especially if you're getting a higher quality one. So, and I don't even find turkey broth. I don't even know if they have turkey broth. But this is a great time to make turkey broth because we're coming up on Thanksgiving, where everyone's eating turkey. So these will be things you won't have to worry about. See? We may have gotten. No. Okay. Don't worry about it. If you don't get it all out while you're trying to strain it out, then it's definitely going to show up when you put it in here to strain it. And so you will see that I'm an advocate for using a flour sack. This is the flour sack and using the strainer, the mesh strainer. I tried it with the cheesecloth, with my bone broth. It didn't turn out very well. I had to strain like 3 different times. And I actually did purchase, I saw where someone was using a coffee strainer, what you call it, a metal coffee strainer. And so I just purchased that. I'm looking forward to using that because then you won't have to worry about cleaning this cloth. If I can use one thing that will do what I need to do, I only have to wash that one thing, which is going to save me time and money, because after so many times of doing this, I can imagine you're going to eventually have to get rid of the flour sack. So that will be an expense you won't have to, a regular expense you won't have to worry about. If you just get one thing that you can clean and use. All right, so I think that's still anymore in here. Okay, so great. So what my second strain will do is it is going to strain for fat and any other meat that may be in it. It's not going to be anything that's too, it should have brought my, all right. I like to use this one. I have multiple measuring cups, but I like the metal one. It's just easier to clean. Like I have this one, but I don't like to use it for that. I like to use it for flour. It's easier for cleaning flour. This is easier for cleaning the wet stuff. Plus, it'll be able to handle the heat better because it's metal. So I'm going to just bring this as close as possible. And we start putting this in here. This process can take a little time. We should. Okay, and so you will notice I also use a stainless steel container. And again, I'm a little particular about the things I use, primarily because plastic is made of BPA, bisphenol A, and if it's not bisphenol A or some other form of bisphenol, these are chemicals that can leak into your food, especially if it's hot. So we're putting something hot in, so you want to use something that's not going to leach toxic chemicals into your food supply. So using stainless steel or ceramic bowls or something of that nature, or Corningware, or glass. That's tricky too, because with glass it can break. So with glass it can break. Do you have a name?
Okay.
Okay. So with glass it can break. So this is where we are. So now we're basically just waiting for this to finish straining. And as you can see, the fat floating, which is what you want to see on this side and on the other side. Although getting a little fat in it is not a bad thing. So while we're waiting for that to finish, I can actually move this out of the way. Because unlike the beef broth, I am not going to do 2 and 3 runs, simply because it's not beef bones. You can actually get more out of it. I'm a little concerned that this is not going to necessarily yield me as much with multiple 48-hour strains of liquid. So if I get just 1 run, I'm fine with that with the turkey. I know they say the same thing with the chicken, so I just pretty much figure the turkey is probably in the same category. But you basically can only get maybe 1 run with the chicken, just because it's chicken. So, okay, so I'm going to take this time to share some other tools that are useful to have. This right here is like your friend. You want to have this. This thing here, this contraption here, is what helps you to get, when this finishes heating up, it helps you to get your cans out, because guess what? That's going to be really hot. So it's going to help you to get your cans out. You just hold it up like this. Yes, hold your jars. That's right, thank you. You hold your jars up like this. You pour out the water that's inside, and then you can lay it aside on the rack, which is what I plan to do. When I am finished with this process, I'm going to lay on the rack over here to let it cool. But I'm only, not necessarily let it cool, but because I do want it to be hot. Because when you put your liquid in, you want to make sure, so that your glass doesn't break, you want to make sure that the heat that is hot, because the liquid you're putting in is also going to be hot. And so both of those things are very important. And I just put the lid, and the lid covers in as well, just to sterilize it.
For the canner?
Yeah.
Because about the pressure.
Oh, so this canner is a Super Ant. That's the name of it. You know, it's not like the standard, what they call gold star equipment, but it'll get the job done. I had no problems with using it the last time I used it. It is moderately priced, I think, for its size and its functionality, because when you price these, you'll see canners that are $400 and $700. This was right at like $186, and that included all these neat tools. So it included this. Oh, the other thing you want to have in your missionary, because it also includes the inner rack on the bottom. Because you're using glass, you want to make sure that it's never directly on the bottom of your container. So you want to use a rack. And so they provided a rack that came with this. And this is neat because if you have, let's say, 2 levels of jars that you're canning, at the same time, you can put this on top and then put your other jars so that you can do a double stack. And that's what you're doing. So that's one of the cool benefits to it. You can also put these on the bottom as well if you need to. So with this pressure canner, you can pressure can, but you can also water bath can. So that's the beauty. If you have a pressure canner, you can do both. If you have a water bath canner, you can only do water bath canners. Water bath canners are only useful for low, no, get straight, high acidic food, so your fruits. So if you're doing preserves, things like that, or even tomatoes, you can do that with water bath canning. But with things like vegetables, like meat, like this broth, it's a low acidic food, so you have to use a pressure canner to make sure it's safe, because we want to make sure it's safe. Food quality is of utmost importance. We don't want to be sick or have any other problems. So that is the benefit of using a pressure canner and why you would want to invest in one. If you don't have money to buy two, then I would definitely say it's better to spend the extra money to buy this. The water bath canner is not expensive. I think I paid $30 for mine. They're still about that same price, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Now your jars, you may, depending on when you go, what's on sale, you can get usually 12 jars, like the size jars that's in here, which is pint size jars. You can usually get 12 jars for about $15 from Walmart. Sometimes $13, between $13 and $15. Okay, so, but the beauty of it is you can reuse the jars. So it's basically a one-time investment, unless, of course, you give your jars away, because you're sharing. Sharing is caring. And if the people do not bring it back to you, then just know you're going to have to buy some more jars. And if you don't specify that you want the jars returned to you, just know you're going to have to buy some more jars. But if you're just using it within your own family, of course, then you just wash and reuse. And so that's the beauty of that. Also, there are certain things you can actually can that does not require having to use mason jars. So depending on what you're canning, you could just reuse jars from other things that you buy, like spaghetti sauce, if you buy those big jars of pickles, or, whatever else. You can use those jars to can. Now, there are some rules about canning that are very important that I did pick up last time I was doing this, and that is that you have to can at least, I think it's at least 3 or 4 jars at a time. And so in other words, if you just say, oh, okay, well, I got 2 things I want to can, 2 pint-sized jars I want to can, you don't want to do that. You need to have at least 4 in your can, and it has something to do with the weight. Can't remember all the details about that, but I did look it up. It is important that you have at least 4 jars. So keep that in mind when you're planning your canning. Yes. You have a question? No, if it's that was like you said, it holds 7. Oh, yes. How many it can hold? Okay, so it can hold way more than that. I'm trying to remember now. I have to look it up again, but no, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 in here, but I have room for it. I could have probably got 9 in there. Yeah, I'll check that 9. Yeah.
The whole thing.
So if I was going to do a double stack, then let me see, I could put 1, 2. Okay, so yeah, I could put 7. I could put 7 on top. So,
So 18, how many total?
I think the total is going to probably be
9 about
16, about 16. I think 16 is the total you can put. 16 is the total you can put in this particular one. It's a 23-quart, I believe it's a 23-quart container. Okay, so we're still waiting. So as you can see, sometimes the user processes that can take long, but we can look and see what's happening underneath the hood here. So one of the things I do.
I read about the chief one.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. It is. Okay. And you can wash it. All I do is they wash very well. But I just machine wash it, and then it's good to go. Again. For another run.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you taste it, like the broth, after, like, you made it with other things? I was just wondering if the flavor from like how much of the flavor transferred, to the liquid.
I have not. You're seeing everything I did. It like literally was just already.
I think you should taste it so we can know, like, is it going to be a watered down flavor or is it going to be just as bold as when we seasoned it?
Okay, so one of the things that I will do anyway, although technically turkey is already a salty meat, I still going to put
season a little
container. I'm going to put at least half a teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
Just, one, you're preserving it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the preservative.
Mm-hmm.
So it just further aids in the process.
That makes sense. And does the amount of salt that you would add change according to like the volume of liquid you have? So like if you were doing half gallon jars or you were doing quart size jars, you would use more salt.
Yeah. Other than the salt, I'm going to add to it. Okay. It certainly needs salt.
Okay.
You were right on point with that, and I think I might actually put a teaspoon of salt instead of just half. Okay, so y'all.
I know you're from South Carolina. It's kind of like the South.
Yeah.
So is that like Louisiana, the Louisiana standard, the whole teaspoon?
Well, Louisiana standard, you might want to put some cayenne pepper. You might want to put some Tony Daiquiris.
I'm just trying to see so when I do mine.
Yeah. Now I will say this: beef has more flavor typically, anyway.
That makes sense.
So you may not need as much. And plus, with your beef, you're going to actually be first cooking bacon, and then the bits from the bacon that's going to. So you're going to have other things working with you.
That makes sense.
So this is different because this was from a meal, and I just took the bones and kind of like.
Gotcha, broth.
Yeah. So it's not going to be quite like that. And so when I made the turkey neck was good. So when I made it, I basically just put salt and pepper.
Okay.
So I did not get really extravagant with my seasoning blend.
So what would you use this broth for, like turkey broth for?
That's a very good question. I would use it for whatever I would use chicken broth. Because basically, there's not much difference between those two. So if let's say I ran out of chicken broth, or I didn't have any chicken broth, I would use a turkey broth. Then I was going to make dressing, so things like that, and you need broth, I would use that. Just like that's what you use anyway. Most people, when they cook the turkey, they use the broth from the turkey to make their dressing. So, here you go.
I was thinking, do you use chicken broth for gravy, like a little bit? Could you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ask the panel.
Because I'm not a good gravy maker. They say you got to be a mom to make gravy. Make good. They say to make good gravy. Okay. Maybe, but you don't need that much. Maybe like a tablespoon or two, or. Oh, okay. Okay. Use broth.
So I do this when you do it. I usually do it one at a time so that stuff doesn't get cold. Oh, I know what I got. So, it's a special device that came with my kit that I need. Actually, two. This is one of them. And the other one, you always think of the stuff you need after you started. You haven't done this. I'm going into some memory. I need it though. So I definitely need this.
So you're saying you're going to put broth in each one at a time. So take it out of the water, empty it, and then. I got you.
The purpose of that is to make sure it's still
they cool once you take them out. That makes sense.
Oh. Okay.
Get that part out.
Yeah. Burning ourselves. You should be wearing gloves doing this. Let me put that out there. That's what I was trying to get out, but I don't have my little thing. Ah,
The other one.
the device. Okay, so just to show you quickly with this, you need to leave 1 inch. This thing is actually a way you can know. 1 inch from the top. If you've done that. So you measure it that way to see if it's touching. Okay, see, that's actually good. Okay. So, y'all, I gotta figure out what happens. Here it is. This little thing, but helpful. It is a magnet, so it'll help pull it out. Okay, so before we put this on, though, one of the things that you want to do, which I did not do in advance, I was talking. I did not. I'm putting it. Thank you. I did not want to get that either.
Some bland broth.
Yeah. So here we go. Vinegar. We're going to need that to clean.
I look like a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so this is vinegar, and the vinegar is used to actually clean the lid. So it's just white vinegar, nothing special. The vinegar is used to clean the lid because you want to make sure you don't get anything on the lid, on the lip of your jar, so that you can have a really good seal. So now, you can get this. Be carefully without hopefully burning ourselves. And you just need to make it, you don't have to like tighten it like that with these, fingertip tight. And so that's it. So we're going to quickly do the rest. Why? Because we actually sterilize in the same pressure canner we're going to actually use. Yeah. So again, we don't want our stuff to get too.
Good mistake though. I'm no salt added. I never thought about the low sodium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Option.
You never know what you get to put for it.
You remember which one it is? Yep.
And that's why the next important thing, one of the most important things, is to label what you do. Because you hate to have a whole bunch of jars and you don't know what's in it. I've done that more times than I care to share. Oh, they gotta go through the smell test.
And the taste test.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and then, like with me, sometimes it's not food. Look at me. Being oil remedy. Right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the oil I use are not a low quality, but usually you can smell it. I do. I have quite a bit left. You can. If you do that, then you have to let it cook or let it get to that jiggling stage. It has to be based on the timing has to be based on the largest jars. So if you use a quart, you have to do it for 25 minutes. And if you use pints, it's only 20 minutes. So if I had a mixture of quarts and pints, then I would have to do it for 25 minutes. Yes, ma'am. It doesn't have any more pint-sized jars.
Mm-hmm.
And all I had left was that. That's true.
That's a particular nice quality.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's the beauty of canning. You know, you have to do some planning in canning. So that you get ready for whatever the situation may be.
I would do one more no salt because you got one no salt. I mean, might as well do a second one.
Right. Because, you know, I might have people over more than one time who need the no salt option.
And then at least you have like a good amount from this one batch.
Yes. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised.
How much you had?
You should probably fill another
jar. Yeah.
So when that happens, you just put that part, you put the partial jar in the refrigerator. And so that way when you're cooking, you can use it. So this thing goes some ways. Okay.
So this is another something. This you don't have another one. So you can make that one.
That's true. I probably add, well, yeah, the no salt. You put some
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to take it. Even I can't do salt. Alrighty. So we're going to get that last one. And then we're going to have to quickly remove all but 3. Well, I'm going to have to get 3. I'm going to have to put in 3 cups. Just to be clear. Remember, yeah. How much water is supposed to be on the bottom? Do you remember that? When you're doing it, it's a certain amount of water. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure when I did it before, they said this is basically what you use every time. Oh. And it was yeah. The water I do with too much water. So I'm gonna have to take it out. But I wanted to just keep what I needed in there, or at least put it in a jar so I can put it back in. I remember it was 3 quarts. Container. So 1, 2, 3, see. I don't know if we're gonna see it because I think this line is over here. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Put that there. Ooh.
And the jars don't need to touch.
Mhm.
You know.
No, it's- I don't think it's such
You know what I'm saying? Is there a problem with them touching?
a-
No.
I try not to let them touch those.
Mm-hmm. That's why you say 7. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's why it's 7. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
So could you put this on top of the rack if you wanted to, and then put those
There's no point because I'm not doubling it.
I got you.
So now you want to do this part. So this is make sure that the silicon is down. And then you want to close it. Here's where things happen. So what we have to do is wait for this to get up to 10, right there, up to 10. When it reaches that 10 space, you don't want it to go below that. If it goes below the 10, at any point, you have to start the count over. It has to stay at 10 for 20 minutes. So we haven't gotten there yet, and you'll know because this thing right here is going to jiggle when it starts. Yes, when it gets, well, it should when it starts getting hot, but when it gets to a place, because this is a 10 CSI, so it's made for 10. So when it gets there, you'll know. If you want to, of course, if it gets to a place where you're not hearing it anymore or at all, you want to make sure you check it. So we're okay for now. We got some time until it gets to 10. The jiggling lets you know when it's time. It's at 10. So got some time. But once it gets there, then you want to adjust it to keep it there. Now, the thing that's interesting is you do this enough, you'll know exactly where to put your dial on your stove top to keep it there so that you don't have to watch it for the whole 20 minutes, which is what we don't. Is that a gas stove or is it? This is a gas stove. Which you want a gas stove because when your electricity goes out, you can still use your gas stove. And you can still get. So the good news is you won't have to lose everything in your refrigerator. Just get the cookies, get the can. Get the planner, get the can. That's right. Which is also the reason why I did not choose to get an electric pressure canner. Because even though it has the conveniences and bells and whistles and it'll keep everything for you, you don't have to keep checking on it. The downside to that is if you lose your electricity, well, you can't use it. This is what we were talking about the other day. Like, if electricity goes out while I'm out of town, I can have a generator. But the generator requires fuel. Who's going to fuel it? Who's going to monitor it while you're out of town, make sure it has fuel in it? Yeah, it's always a time to every pro. But if I have all my jars, like if I can my stuff when I go out of town, I come back, they're still there, whether the power's on or not. Exactly. And then you can do something like just keep seeds in your freezer. So that way it doesn't matter if it goes off. That's true. Not food that can spoil. But that's a very hurtful feeling. When you think about the money you lose. And the insurance, homeowners insurance, or renter's insurance only covers up to a certain amount. Exactly. I think we lost about upwards of, over the reimbursement amount for the insurance was $500. Right. I know I had like a couple turkeys in there, whole chickens, like 6 fish, like, I know. It was way more than that. Yeah, we had like leg quarters. I mean, the freezer was full. Like, it was one of those side-by-side freezers. Yeah. That was in the bed. Yeah, we lost all of it.
The day I went out of town, the lights went out in the shed. I guess a fuse blew, and although it came back on in the house, it didn't come back on in the shed. So, and we were gone for at least 6 weeks.
Yeah, so they you did that count that.
Oh, it was a bad smell. When we went to Florida.
Oh, that was here.
That was here. So the electricity hasn't been restored there. I hadn't got it fixed, but it was a smell nobody wants to.
Yeah.
Like,
Does it smell only when you open it, or you can smell it before you open
it? No, you can smell it before you opened it until you opened it. So meaning that once you opened it and got all the food out, and you closed it, because I cleaned it like the next day. You came, and I sprayed it down, took all the food out, threw it in the trash, sprayed it down, and I closed it. But the next day when I came in, I could still smell the stench. Right. So if it would have stayed closed unclean, it would have took a while for it to smell. But since I had opened it and shut it back and released that, it was awful. And then I had to put that bag. I had like 4 trash bags, like on one. Like, so if I had filled the trash bag, I put like 4 on the outside so it wouldn't leak in my car. And I'm already like a germaphobe, just imagine. But only I could do it. My husband was still in Florida, so. Like, say a prayer, I get to throw it away. I still need to go back and clean it again, because I said, I think I need to do it again, because once you clean it one time, you just don't get that feeling that it's, you need to clean it about 2 or 3 times before you put anything back in there. That was back in March for spring break. The kids came down for spring break, and the day we went out, because I called the electricity company, I said, do we have a power outage? Like, because everything,
you must have got a notification.
I don't think I got that notification, because we don't always get notifications. But I looked back at my email, and I couldn't tell because it happened the day we went out of town. So I was like, the lights were on before we went out of town, so I just dismissed it. Maybe they flickered while, I was still here, because it was that same day.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Boy, was I wrong. Like, it went out. Like, it must have happened as soon as we left, because we usually leave early in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happened, like, as soon as we left. But I called the electric company. She was like, yeah, it went out that day. And I was like, today, she was like, yeah, what day you leave? And I forgot the date, and I was like, oh, my God.
Just waited one more day.
Right. I was so sad.
And see, this is what I'm saying. So imagine that, or you just purchased a grass-fed and finished cow, and your whole cow is gone. Oh, that is a hurting feeling.
Yeah.
That's a major investment. And then on top of that, you got your fish, you got your chicken, you got your whatever else. Oh.
Veggies, like. I was prepping for the holidays. I was like, oh, we're going to be set for the holidays. Yeah. No.
So you all, this is what keeps me up thinking about why food preservation is so important, and why canning is a lost art that needs to be revitalized, and why we don't need to put all of our proverbial eggs in one basket to let the can.
Right. Put them all in one jar.
Exactly, because it's just too many things that can happen that can put you in a position where all your food is gone. We got to get back to the way our ancestors used to do it. They didn't have refrigerators and all these conveniences. So the conveniences are great. We use them while we can, but we don't want to be solely relying on those conveniences for our food supply. We want to have some skills on hand so that we can be ready for whatever situation comes. Speaking of which, I'm going to put my plug in, people, about water, because this is important as food is. Water is important, too. So you want to make sure you get you something like a big Berkey. I'm going to encourage you with that, because not only does it save you money on water bottles, but you don't need to be drinking out of water bottles anyway. Please don't get me started on the water bottles and all the plastic that we have, that we are sucking out of water bottles every day, and all that plastic. We do not know where those bottles were before we purchased it. We don't know how much sun has been exposed to. We don't know any of that. And the chemicals in the plastic leaches out with heat. So all I have to say is, if you wonder why you're having certain problems, health issues, do your research on the plastic. And so we have way too many sources of plastic that we are exposed to. We are exposed to not just the plastic from water. Anything you buy from the store is wrapped in plastic. Okay, I don't care if you're getting meat is wrapped in plastic. When you buy your vegetables, even if you get it fresh, you're putting it in a plastic bag before you bring it home. So we are inundated with plastic, way more plastic than we need to have, we need to be using. So as much as it is possible to get away from plastic, we need to do so. That's number one. Number have to buy plastic bottles. What you do is you gotta use some good stainless steel water bottles. You fill the water bottles up. You fill those water bottles up. Now they may cost you something. They used to be cheap to buy. Now you may pay $20 for one. But as long as you don't lose it, and I assure you, when you pay $20 for one, it's gonna help you keep up with it. So as long as you don't lose it, you can reuse that water bottle. You wash, reuse. Stainless steel, you don't have to worry about anything leaching in it. Many of them are temperature controlled so that if you like cold water, it will remain cold throughout the day. You know, if you need it to be hot, you can get it hot. So, yes, also pay attention. You hear the sound. We're getting close. Sound like it's going to be blowing any minute now. And as you can see, the temperature gauge is moving up. So, one thing I didn't do, but part of that is because, you know, I just don't like putting stuff on my stove. But some people do mark the place that you can put it so that you know where it is. So I have to play with it a little while, I admit. But once you find the spot, literally, it will stay there. I have found that to be the case. You can go on and do whatever else you got to do. Then you set your timer, which I'm using my phone, so that might be my problem because I keep setting the timer. You set the timer once you get to the spot you want to get to for 20 minutes. Now keep in mind, if for any reason, for any amount of time, that it goes below the time, the temperature gauge at 10, you're going to have to start over. You have to get it back to the 10, and you have to keep it at that 10 for the whole 20 minutes. If you do not, then you start over. Start the timer over, you do it for another 20 minutes. So you cannot let it get, cannot let it go back. That's the only thing about pressure canning experience. But the whole goal is once you do it, the more you do it, the more you will not have that happen.
So what will make it go back? Like
temperature
just
flip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why
it's just something that happens. Like exactly. It's nothing you can control. You just gotta watch it and make sure
correct.
That you
because see, what you
catch
don't want to do is I can't keep it here because it's on its highest setting. So once it gets to where I want it, that's
you have to turn it down.
You have to turn it down to keep it there because you
that's
also
what
want
you're
to
talking about. Marking it.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes more sense.
So we're almost there. Not jiggling, so that's it should have already blown the horn.
It's like a tick mark in between. Like you got like a little one mark.
Okay, so I should see the little seed. You can actually see the smoke coming out. So it's about to blow. Normally I don't see it when I was doing this myself. Watch it. I did actually leave the room. So
I would have done that too.
Waited
20 minutes.
I heard it. Right.
Oh, I would have done that too. You live and you learn. I would have done that and been so disappointed when I returned. It's like, what happened? You weren't watching it.
Well, I mean, you can do it before it does that. Now you just wait for it to get there. But once it gets there, you gotta periodically come back because, you just don't want to trust that it's staying there until you're absolutely sure.
The process that does involve you.
Exactly.
You can't just leave.
So once you find that sweet spot and you know it and you do it enough, then you can start,
capture the smoke coming up. You can kind of see it on camera. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. You can see it moving. That's the circling. Here's the thing I didn't catch because I was moving it.
Oh, I saw the smoke.
So when you hear that sound, that is shouldn't make it up. But you'll definitely know it.
I guess because you cook with the instant pot, does it have like pressure cookers have like the sound anyway? I guess if we cook enough, we'll be a little used to it. Because I get what you're saying. If it's your first time and it start doing that, like you start backing up.
Right, like is it blowing?
Like, what is going on? And it's precious.
Yes, it is. You feel it jiggling a little bit. If you can. If you can hear it.
You see the smoke, too? That's coming out the side? There's a little smoke coming out the side.
It is.
I think that's what's being important, too, to emphasize the safety of reading instructions and...
Correct. So, yes, please be sure to read your manufacturer's instructions of whatever pressure canner you get. And if you don't understand it, you go to YouTube and find a video. That is also very helpful because there are instruction videos out there. See, now you see it circling.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With the red knob when it's turning around. It's turning. It is. And we are pretty much where we want to be.
So let me know when to start the time.
Yes, you can start that time of me.
Okay.
Because what I don't want it to do is keep going above where I need it to be. No. Okay. So now we're at 10. We're going to actually above 10. We're going to keep it there. I've turned it down slightly. I don't want to turn it down anymore. I don't want to turn it down anymore until I see if it's...
So where did you move it from?
I moved it from high setting to just basically between here and here, between the second and third setting. So I know that medium. No. The one other thing, if you're not hearing any noise, then that lets you know too that the temperature is going down.
So it stopped doing that.
And you start getting real quiet, you need to start getting real concerned.
So what's the purpose of keeping it there? What does that do? Is it for the seal? Is it for the...
For this?
Yeah, like, so what does keeping the temperature at a steady thing do for the canning process?
Make sure there's no microbes or...
Bacteria growing?
It's a certain temperature you have to get things to in order to kill any microbes or bacteria.
Okay.
Unbeneficial.
Okay.
And so, and well, there's some beneficial ones too. But you want to make sure you kill the unbeneficial ones.
Because what I was going to say was, what didn't dawn on me, and Nubia, I don't know if you thought about this, but when I first thought about canning, it didn't dawn on me that they were like cooking the food as well as preserving the food. You get what I'm saying? So like, for instance, not in this case for the broth, but like for meat and stuff like that, like sometimes meat and like meat and some other foods, like they start out at like whatever they put in the can, in the jar. Sometimes it's not cooked all the way through, and they put it in the jar and then pressure can it, and it finished cooking it. So it didn't dawn on me that canning, although a preservation process, is also a cooking process. I just thought about, preserving the food, like I'm just trying to keep it, preserved and thinking that everything is already cooked, and I'm just trying to make sure it's shelf-stable for a long period of time. But you're also cooking it when you do certain things, too. Like, because I thought people were canning raw meat, and I was like, no, they put it in there. It's raw, but they put it in a pressure canner, and that temperature cooks it. Because when you see it, it starts browning. Right. Like the meat starts browning while they're canning it. So, yeah, that's young folk that don't cook a lot. and therefore have canning is foreign to us. But
it's an easy mistake to make, because it's just like if you're not actively involved in the process of food, then you're gonna also come to the conclusion that food comes from the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you never seen anything grow? You don't know how it happens.
She wanted her what? Oh.
Yeah,
I didn't see that one. She said, I want mine with cheese.
oh wow. So I turned it down some because as you can see it's still going up. So we want to keep it at 10. With over the years, as long as you can, to do the water, so that you get. I don't see that yet. I'm trying to say get in. Yeah, 15 and 2. Not how you do it. Mine goes up to 20. That's what I did. If this past there go up, yeah, we don't want that.
Oh, yeah, because the pressure, it'd be too much pressure.
Watch it as long as you can. Watch it, make sure it stays, because he has a wood stove. And he has, make sure that the wood and everything.
So you don't have a gauge. You don't have one of them turn it up, turn it down.
Oh, no,
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, what, right. Like it's almost like having a campfire. Hey.
So I don't know. And I so my job to watch it and make sure when it got on 10, I'm on 10 and stay on, 10. Put some, pick some wood in here and make it burn.
Wow.
See how blessed we are? All we gotta do is find out where it needs to be.
Right. So this is good because the wilderness training. I was thinking about how if you have your lights do go out and you got a grill, like if you have a charcoal grill, you might can put your pressure can on top. It'll be just like that wood stove trying to figure out how to keep it on 10.
And so, and this is why it's important to do that too. It's important to actually function as though if you didn't have this, how would you have to work it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have, for instance, what we call a wood burning stove, you can have something you can keep outside, and you can cook something on it. Doing that, finding out how much wood does it take to pressure can something. That way, you already got it down to a science. You know how much you need to have on reserve in case something happens.
True.
Because that's just, as great as these conveniences are, the same thing with gas. Gas is better than electric because if electricity goes out, you have gas, but the people stop coming to bring you gas. You just like the person who has no electricity.
Now we're down to sticks and the wood and leaves.
This is wood that you put in the head to keep you warm than wood you put in the stove. You use time, over time, you put time to find it. You put in the stove. Yes. So I'm heating and heating. Oh. Now see, that's different. So why? Why do you use it some time and salt and quick? And burn up and open harder. It's very slow. Oh, the national thing. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
It is hard here. Time is all here.
Because they don't want it to take all day to cook.
Right.
To get to, heat up so you can cook. The pine.
It's hot twist. In fact, you probably don't know where the springs are, but you call it that. Pine bit. Fat pine. Which is just looks like a piece of paper. You can take a nice little piece of paper and take it right up. Might have some wood the same way. If you hold a nice piece of paper, you can light it right up.
That's what I was looking at. That's what I was looking at. This guy on YouTube. He always talk about people who may not have grown up with a dad or may not have had a dad to show them type stuff. And so he always gives his YouTube video, and at the end of the day, he'll be like, "Love Dad." That's how he signs off his videos. But one of the things he's talking about was wood and how to start a fire. And what he did first was after he gathered all his sticks out the wood for it, he shaved off little pieces of wood. He got the bark off, and then he shaved off little pieces of the branches and used that as his fire starter. Just like you would pieces of paper or leaves or little small things. He shaved off little pieces of wood trimmings and then use that to start the fire. Does that make sense?
But it's certain type of time. A lot of times when the tree decays of time lot, and it probably used to be about in the fall, it's time enough to get through. Getting time out, getting the root. More time the root is dry, will be dried out or more, and
and we call it splendid, really. Because they were in the stick on, they like to buy something stick on 5 minutes.
Right.
Which is regular street up there. It's the same part that when it's turned, it's like they got the oil in it. When like the cheese oil in it, they stick it in it. So you call them.
Right.
But that time is what it is.
So they call it fat pine because of the oil that comes from it or something? Oh, okay.
See, and that's why it's important for us to know these things. This is the other reason I'm talking about the campfire learning. We get to pull from the wisdom of those who have gone before us, who know the whys to what we're doing, and can show you things that you may not necessarily get from the YouTube video.
That's true.
Yes. So that's my little plug-in for why I want. My desire would be to see communities spring up that does canning projects like this, that make sure you have your seniors involved, because there's so much that they know. Like, we can figure out some of the stuff from YouTube videos, but we can't figure everything out. And there's so much wisdom that you can get, like the whys, the how to live without, the convenience of the stove and still do this. Which
it's fine.
You can preserve your apples by drying them. If you don't have down inside, you just slice it. You take the metal outside here. You spread the apple, slice it in, spread them on top of the metal in the hot sauce. You see how they dry them. And when you eat them, you take them in and put them in the fat. And then you put it back out there, stacks back out there in the summer on the milk. It's dry and it's preserved. You preserve it and you can put it in a jar and everything. Or the thing with preserve, apples, make a pie anytime you want to.
I didn't know that. I never thought about that.
See?
Drying them outside.
Oh, yeah, we do that. That's what you preserve about apples. You want to make apple fluffy, fried apple pie. That we put more stove in the water, boil them apples, dried apples,
So that's almost like, it reminds me of how they say you gotta cook with the seasons, or so it's more than just shopping and what's on sale or what's in season. Getting your groceries with what's in season. It's also what you can use the weather outside for. Like you were saying, like especially in the summertime when fruit is in abundance. Go ahead and dry you up a couple of bundles of apples, and preserve them that way. Like when it's cold, you got a natural refrigerator to stuff outside, or in the snow for places where it snows,
So we got to think of all the things that God has provided so that we can still have food. We don't have to be dependent on all of these other things that can be taken away from us. So, God provided the trees that you can have to make the wood so that you can can your food or cook your food or whatever else you want to do. He provided the sunshine so that you can dry your food. It's a natural dehydrator. You don't have to spend any money on it. It's for free for you. And so then, think about it. And the stuff that we waste all the time. Like I used some spaghetti sauce the other day. You can reuse those jars to put those apples in. You don't have to have, the special made steel cans to do that. And so anyone can. It's just what you can, right? And you can start wherever you can start. If you don't have a water bath can, all you need is a stock container to do water bath canning. You don't have to have the specially made water bath canning. So you can use what you have. Put if you don't have like a wrap or one of these, neat things or whatever to put on the bottom, you can just use a towel. So just put a towel on the bottom. So the whole point of it is just you want to make sure that you don't break your jars and things like that because of the heat. So you just do that, and then you can make your watermelon rind jelly. So if you got watermelon rind, and you're like, oh, I'm going to throw that. You don't have to do that. Now all you gotta do is clean that watermelon around. Get you some good old baking soda and some water. Get your brush, clean the watermelon around, and then you just chop it up. You know, remove some of the, if you have now, if you got real good watermelon, you don't have to worry about having any red part.
Mm-hmm.
If you got too much, you just, you know, clean some of that off, and then you just slice it up into slices, and then next thing you know, it's like a whole process. But the whole point is, at the end of it, you only have to use, you don't have to use a pressure can for it. You can use a stock, what do you call it?
Pot.
Stock pot, or you can use a water gas can. So either one will work. So yes, we still got the little can, y'all. And you still where we need to be. And so you pay attention to where it's located. So that, guess what? That's where it needs to be next time. So when you can in the future, you don't have to sit and watch it. So 20 minutes is not a long time, but the reason why you want to learn this process when you got something that's only 20 minutes is because some of these things require 75 minutes. If you sure would hate to get 35 minutes in and then have to start all the way over, that's not something you're going to want to do. So you start, you know, despise not the days of small beginnings, like the Lord says in the Word. You start with something that's small, that's easy to do, and the reason why I like starting with brothing, even though I didn't even realize it when I started, who I chose as I want to start with, is because brothing every 2 days, especially with the beef, you can actually get more broth. When you start, you're going to start with bone broth. You use the same bones, cook them for another 24 to 48 hours, and then you're going to do the process again. So the more you do it, and especially back to back, then you're going to remember it. It's going to stick with you better. But if you only do this once a month, or let's say you only do this once every 3 or 4 months, you're going to have to, every time you do it, you're going to have to revisit, what do I do next? The steps are not going to be as easy for you to keep up with. But if you had to do one for a solid week every 2 days, it's 50 longer.
Yeah.
You have a lot less gap. Then you come back 2 months later to do your turkey broth. As in my case. So these are the things that we want to do. So what's going to happen as we are 1 minute and 60 seconds in, just to prepare you for what's going to happen after I cut this off, is you're going to wait for this to cool off. And I'm sure you can imagine why you don't want to immediately try to open this container. But just so that I cover every safety rule that's necessary, you want to wait until this, of course, cools off. I would say at least a good 20 minutes. What do you think? You see all the steam up. Yes, you want to make sure all the steam is up. And so then you can take this out, you take this off, and then the only thing you're going to do, that's why you have all these handy tools. Because you see this right here? You want to have this. And then you can one by one take all these out and I put mine on the rack. You don't want to necessarily put it on your countertop because it's going to be extremely hot. So, well, it's not going to be extremely hot because I'm not going to take it out as soon as it's hot. But it's going to be hot enough that you're not going to want to just leave it on your countertop. Especially if you have some of the countertops definitely can take a lot of heat. You might need rings or marks and stuff like that. So then you just take it out and just let it finish cooling off. And this is a good time while it's cooling off for you to do something else called making labels. Because, again, one of the most important things you can do after you finish this process is make sure you have labels so that you know what it is when you come back to it later on. Oh, are we finished? All right, y'all. So we did it. We made it. We made it. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We made it 20 minutes on 10. You see God. So yes. So now we have some turkey broth, which you probably can't buy in the store because I haven't found any turkey broth. I don't know in years. I don't think I've seen turkey broth. Have you seen turkey broth?
I don't know.
No. So see, I suppose you can make broth out of any meat. You know, I haven't had the kind of deer meat that had the bones, but I would imagine you could probably make deer meat broth. Person had bones. What do you think that would take?
Like me.
That's what I would think. But that's good to know because with wilderness training and preparing, we may not always have access to a cow, but if you live down south, you might have access to a deer.
Anything that you good to eat, you know,
it does exist, venison broth.
See, so we could have some.
How to make it?
So think about it.
Venison broth.
Yeah. So if you know someone who hunts in your family and they just discarded their bones, now you got something you can tell them they can do with the bones.
Well, you just go to the shop and put where person have a dinner and tell them you want your bones.
Yes.
A lot of times if they have to throw bones away, I don't know what to do with it. With all of them, they don't ever bring their bones back home.
That's what I'm saying.
The process is probably get the bones.
Yes. So I would say, if you're watching this and you deer hunt or know someone who does, and you get your deer process, get your bones. Make some broth. There's no reason if you're doing these things that you should be paying for broth. There's no reason why we should ever have to buy broth again. I mean, you know, it takes a little bit of time. 48 hours for making probably your venison like you do your beef. But you get so much out of it. Plus the satisfaction of knowing what's in it. Because you're going to be the one seasoning it. You're going to be the one, you know, making it. You're going to know what quality water you use to make that broth. These are things that are question marks for us when we buy it from the store that don't have to be question marks.
Or using the water out the faucet.
Exactly. They could just be putting the water out of the faucet. You don't know. You wonder why we have health issues. We don't know we don't know how they're processing. That's the whole point. And so that's the other reason, I would say reason number 3, other than food preservation, know what's in your food. The other reason why you want to, you know, can your own food is that you know what's in it. You know what kind of container it's in. Because we don't need to continue to be eating canned foods from aluminum containers. Because just like I was saying with the plastic, we got problems with aluminum. So we don't need to have issues with our hormones. We don't need to have issues with our brain. These are things that we can avoid if we do our own food. So we call this bringing it back home. You know, when our family was in a situation where we were cooking our own food at home, that's why you have so many of our elderly people who are still here. So they weren't eating all this processed food. They weren't going to McDonald's eating mystery meat. They were killing their own animals. They knew what kind of condition their animals were in. They didn't have to worry about mad cow disease. They didn't have to worry about botulism.
Bird flu.
They didn't have to worry about bird flus. Or, you know, whatever else is out there.
The cows are mad, the birds got the flu. It's just a madhouse. It's wild out there.
Exactly.
It's wild.
So when you can know the source of where your meat's coming from, which I'm an advocate for that, meaning know the farmers that you're getting it from, because we get meat sometimes coming from across the waters, okay? You seeing packages where your fish is coming all the way from Thailand and from China. All I'm saying is I would like to be able to have a conversation with the person who's providing my meat. And so if you can find local suppliers for your meat supply, that's where you want to go. Not to mention, if the trucks stop rolling, you're not getting any more. Unless you live near the water, you're not going to be getting any more fish from China. You don't have to get what you can get locally.
That's what usually happens. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was about to say that's just what usually happens. Like, people don't recognize that the shutdown is the beginning of trucks and logistics stopping. Like, when we were in the recession a few years back, what happened? The logistics of the nation was paused. So, like, a lot of trucks, that's why toilet paper wasn't on the shelves. People think it was just because of COVID, but COVID affected the economy as well, so that once it got to a point where, you know, the trucks and stuff stopped rolling, then the shelves weren't being restocked. It wasn't just because of, you know, the pandemic alone. Like, the after effects. So, like, we're talking about the government shutdown right now.
Exactly.
Like, the government shutdown, a lot of things stopped happening during the government shutdown. Like, people stopped getting paid, you know, federal workers. Well, once it trickles down. So now what's happening is SNAP benefits stop, you know, all the, you know, public assistance, stuff like that is held up. You know, Section 8 payments aren't being made to the owners on time, you know, things like that. So it's not just affecting the people who are low income. The people who are supporting the low income families, i.e. renting their house out to a Section 8 tenant, are not getting their extra income from the federal government too. Right. So what ends up happening is, like, it's just a trickle down effect. And then you don't know everything it affects until it starts happening. People don't pay attention until it starts happening to them. Correct. So now I don't have to deal with that because this, that, and the other. Oh, okay. So what happens when the stores stop being restocked?
Right.
You know, the trucks stop rolling. What happens when you can't go open the doors of a medical facility because hospitals are closing too? And, you know, some of those workers, they're not being staffed as much. You know, the budget affects a lot of things. So couple that with a pandemic, like back in 2020, then it's just a madhouse. So if you don't have food security, if you don't have things already stocked up, then, and you can't go to the grocery store, then what do? Starve?
Exactly.
Or people start stealing. Is that the right way? When you can just...
When you could have just...
Plan, you can just plan. And it's cheaper because when that stuff starts, when people stop getting paid, the first thing they want to say is like, well, I can't afford. But if you think about it, if you didn't get paid tomorrow, everything in your freezer, if you did what you're doing now, use every part of it, there's some things that you don't even have to go to the store and buy, but we buy out of convenience.
Exactly.
So if we buy in bulk, if we preserve our food, we use every part, then we could get a lot further faster. And even if I didn't have any money in the bank, you know, as a cushion to carry me over to the shutdown passed over, I still have a way of eating because I have to eat.
Exactly.
And if I run my tap water into my Berkey, I still got water. All right, so
I don't have to be worried about competing with everyone else at the grocery store to get
right.
water bottle.
Right.
You don't have to be fighting over any of that. And so here's what the Lord really brought to my memory today. Now, I heard it before, but it just resonated that when you don't have food is gold. You know, food is your currency. You know, if you are hungry and your stomach is talking to your back, I promise you, if someone got food, if someone got $1 million, you're going to want to go for that food. I mean, so... And water.
Because you can't do nothing with that food if you can. The grocery store goes down. I mean, that money. You can't do nothing with that money.
Can't do nothing.
Right.
Money has no value.
All right.
But if you have what you need, you have the food that you need, you have the water that you need to drink, then you can live another day. So this is why you need to be looking at. That's why I keep coming back to food preservation. We don't have time not to do it. I mean, that's just how we should be thinking. And furthermore, we need to have the skill. If nothing else, if let's say, you know, the Lord tarries and during your day, you know, he may not come for another 30 years, or we may not have a major crash for another 30 years. It would not hurt for you to not only have these skills. It not only would it help, but we need to look at this as an inheritance for your kids and your children's children, because you have these skills, you teach your children these skills, then guess what? You don't have to worry about your children being out or without. They will know how to do what they need to do. And so that's why I'm going to close with the book that I always recommend for this, because that testimony is exactly what I'm talking about. The Sarah Thrush book, Preserving. Book.
It's called Preserving what?
It's called Preserving with Purpose. That's the name of the book. Preserving with a Purpose. Because her testimony is exactly that. 2020, she was, I think she was a nurse, but she was saying things got rough. You know, she had to provide for her family. She said that she remembered how to can because I think it was her grandparents, taught her how to do it. And so she just started canning everything. And she did so well that, again, she created a book that not only tells you how to can different recipes and give you all the details, right, and very well organized, but it even tells you how to do your pantry, how to do your rotation, how to actually plan for a month, a week, a month, and a year. So that for each person. So for one person, how much you need for a week, a month, and a year. So it's like, there's no excuse. We now have the ability to be able to do the needful. And today is the best time to start. So I don't care if you start with, you go to the grocery store and they got that $2 bin section in your grocery store and there's a ton of plums. You can can plums. I'm telling you, I saw the recipe. You can do it. I don't care if it's, you cooked a whole turkey last week. Don't throw those bones away. Put those bones in the crock pot or in the roaster. Season it however you want to season it, and now you have some broth. There's no excuse. Whether you're making gumbo, which is a famous thing down here, or anything else, we can can what we need to have, and we can have what we need to can. That's pretty much where we are in this process. So I hope y'all enjoyed this session. I truly, truly, truly hope you will get candy and that you will start today. There's no time like the present. So anybody want to say anything on camera? Any more tips, comments, thoughts, suggestions, ideas for the next thing we can go can?
I think we should start, like you said, don't despise small beginnings with a week. Like, how much does it take for, like, a week per person? Like, so in my household, on any given day, there's 3 people to feed, sometimes 5 people when we got the kids. So starting out with, okay, me, because I can't feed my family if I haven't fed myself, right? So, like, I can't, in other words, I can't can if I'm starved. So, okay, start with me. How much am I going to can for myself for a week? And do that. Once I've gotten my, week's worth for me, then I start with, everybody else in my household until I've done, and, you can prioritize it however, however you need to. And the reason why I say start with me is because if I'm the one canning and I'm not here, I'm starved or something like, like I said, I can't do anything. So, yeah. So then I do that according to the priority of who's in my house that I need to, who's going to be the most effective in running the household should something happen. And then once I get everybody done, then I say, okay, so I've gotten my stash for the week, and the week might look like 2 meals per person or 3 meals per person per day. However you want that to look. It might look like 2 full meals on a Saturday, whatever you want it to look like, because we're talking about a food shortage coming about. You're not going to always have the luxuries of everything you eat every day if you just start canning today and something happened tomorrow. You get what I'm saying? So you want to start small, and then as you get that week, and then start over. Okay, a month for myself, a month for the next person, a month for the next person, until you get to at least 6 months to a year. So you have some food security. Then as you do that as you build up to that year, then you'll start adding stuff to your, like, repertoire. Like, okay, I had 2 meals per person per, day. Let's start with it. Now we can get fancy and get a dessert, or, so just having a plan, like you was talking about planning.
Having a plan. Have a plan and then work the plan you have. And the beauty about canning is the fact that you can can so much at one time. So even, for instance, like, of course, if you go to make a taco meal, let's say that, you're not going to make a taco meal just for yourself.
Right.
So when you're canning, technically, you're not going to probably need a whole pint even.
So you probably do the family already at one time. That makes sense.
So if you're talking about 7 days, of food, for instance, and let's say we're doing 7 pints, but let's say we can do double decker. You can make enough so that you do a double decker. So you're technically doing 2 people for 7 days if you don't eat that same meal.
That makes sense.
Right? Yeah. And so the only thing, really, is it that much more work to just say, well, I can just do all 3 of them.
You're cooking for 2 versus, right. 1 versus 3, right?
Correct. So then I just have to can twice. So then I do a double decker, and then I have to can 1 more time, but I can still make all of that at the same time.
So you can make a week's worth of food for 3 people in like 2 days if you want to.
Or in 1 day.
Depending on if you dedicate the whole day to it, yeah.
Correct. Now, if you're doing something like broth is a little different because it takes 2 days anyway. But if you're doing like a whole meal, yeah, you can do that in 1 day.
So really, we should be looking for the simple recipes that, don't take as long, that we can just for our emergency supply of food.
Correct. Yeah. And you want to get food that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is simply good. Because this is what I found with trying the MRE food, y'all, and I'm a very big person, but that is some horrible thing.
You ain't use no salt. Yeah, you ain't use no salt. You gotta season it up. You got.
I mean, it wasn't just that. It was just
the texture is.
It
can be.
It was not pleasant eating. All I'm saying is this: if we plan beforehand,
that's true.
We can get the food we like, because one thing that I find from an emotional and you definitely think about it from that perspective, you're already gonna be stressed. If you're in a situation where you know you can't go to the store like you used to, things are shut down, at the very least you want to eat good. And the reason why I say that is because that's why they call it comfort food. You know, something that's gonna be something that's comforting in a very uncomfortable situation. So that's why being proactive is so very important, because if you're proactive, then you can cook what you're going to enjoy. So if you know you like to eat this any given day, whether it's taco salad or spaghetti or, brisket or whatever it is you like to eat, can it. So that if that happens, if you're at a position where, everything's shut down, the only thing I got is my gas stove, and I can cook on top of that, I can heat up the food. When you heat up that food, it's going to be food you're going to enjoy. It's not going to be food that you're going to be like, oh, man, I'm going to survive, but this ain't the way to do it now. So, I mean, I'm just saying, get the stuff you know you're going to like. Like, if you know you're not the type of person who like oranges, don't go and buy, I don't care if it's on sale, don't go and buy a ton of oranges and say, I'm going to can these oranges, but now you're miserable because you got oranges that you don't even like them.
Now you're actually contemplating starvation. Like,
oranges, it's like they do mandarins. You can't eat anything.
That's true.
In glass jars.
That's true.
You can get what you like, and that's the beauty of doing this in advance.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in a position where you eating food that you just don't like. I mean, people, I think the reason why we buy MREs and stuff like that is because we really don't want to put the time in to actually make our own food like this.
And it's good to have on hand because at least you got something, but like you said, it's not the most appetizing.
Yeah, different nuts. So in the season, like, I don't say the hickory nuts is a lot. Like, we say a lot. Walnuts, orgy. But now, we can buy, it's good. Sometimes if you save up this food, when the season is that's it.
Right.
But of course, you have to put them in the refrigerator.
Should we figure out how to can it?
All right. I was thinking about, the only thing I'd be thinking about is pecan pie filling. You can can it.
There you go.
You make you some pecan pie filling, and then you can it.
Yeah. All I need to do now is get some mustard. I can make a chocolate.
That is, yeah.
It's just the things you can do.
I can last year.
You still got it? I still got it. I have one jar left. I don't know why I canned one jar. I can't remember. But I think we were trying something. Or maybe they're not all in the same place. I had like 3 jars. I don't know. It's in the kitchen, in the cabinet somewhere. I just don't.
I do. I do. I have not. I gave some away, and then I have some. So that's the other part. Like I don't care stuff, but it takes me a while to actually get through it. So, and I guess because it's the mindset. I have the mindset that it's canned, it's preserved, it's good, it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
But we do need to rotate. That rotating thing is serious.
That's true. I love tomatoes out the back. I canned some tomatoes, and they were real good. And but see, you keep them so long, then I end up some of them throwing away now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were real good. And I remember, I just forgot about him saying like it, but every time he come up, he got, because he just liked it. Yeah. But then you push them back somewhere in the cabinet and forget about them, and they stay there for a while.
That's why that food storage idea that you're talking about, the shelf, they're all in one location. You know, they're organized a certain way. I was gonna ask, how long do they last? It depends. How long can you keep something you can?
So one of the ways you can know the answer to that to some degree is when you find, like, we buy spaghetti sauce. This one has expiration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can properly, according to what she said, you can keep it for way longer than what they say, 10, 20 years, and it'll be good. What will happen is it won't taste as good because, again, even though it's not completely oxidizing to the point where it's spoiling, it's still losing nutritional value. So it's still not going to be quite as, you know.
Did I tell you something? I remember Mama used to can soup in the jars.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking Mama, had been in this bed for a long time down at the house. And she go down there, and y'all, that soup was just as good. I don't know, Dr. James might have got like soup. I forgot it. But it looked real good. And it didn't change the color or anything.
See?
Whether the soup, like tomatoes and corn and different things. Mm-hmm. But it looked good, and she had been gone for a long time.
Wow.
To get stuff out of the house, somebody else using it. It's still good.
So they were eating the food that she had canned when she was alive?
Yeah.
Wow.
See? It still is.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. I'm like, that blows my mind, though. Like, wow.
So, see, this is why we got to learn this stuff. So, again, soup would be a good thing to do because we're coming into the cold months. And soup is usually something that's comforting that you're going to want. And that would be simple in any situation to cook. Like, if I had to cook on a wood stove, I would think soup would be a quick thing to cook. You don't have to worry about, having to do a lot. Keeping that temperature, because certain things they're temperature sensitive.
And certain things you have to put certain things in the pot first so that it cooks.
Right.
And certain things you have to add last because you don't want to overcook it. So soup is one of those things like you
already doing. So just imagine you got you a good stock pot. You can make enough soup for you to eat. If you already make enough, how much soup you gonna want to eat? If you make a huge thing of soup, you're only gonna probably want to eat it for a couple of days, right? 2 or 3 days, and then you're gonna be tired of it. So you can just make enough to where you say, okay, well, I'm going to keep this amount for us to eat for a couple of days, and then I'm going to store the rest. And there you go.
That's right.
And then you now have, maybe 7 or 8 jars of soup that's ready to go, just like that.
That's right.
So it's kind
of like 2 days worth of food right there.
There you go.
For 2 people, that's 2 days worth of food. Like if you eat soup for every. And in a food shortage situation, you're going to be glad to get that soup.
There you go. And then you can make different. You can make soup. You can do soup, stews. A lot of times, what you call it, like the cream potato type stuff. You can do any of that. And then say, hey, okay, well, this is what I'm going to focus on. Yeah. For a whole week, we're just doing soups and stews and, like, cream potatoes, stuff like that. So, I mean,
you probably could sweet potato soup. It's like you buy them in a can.
That's right.
Yam.
Yep.
That's good. Mm-hmm. I'll probably eat those before the year.
You make enough.
But it's like for Thanksgiving one time I made food, we made food, and then after a couple of days we froze the rest. But like you said, you could can that stuff. And what happened was probably like this was last year when we did the oxtails and stuff like that. We froze it. I think probably about the end of February, we ended up having like just thawing it out, reheating it, and that was food we didn't have to cook for. It was Thanksgiving food, but it was food we cooked on Thanksgiving, but it wasn't your traditional Thanksgiving food. So we were eating oxtails at the end of February that we didn't have to, cook peas, beans.
Thanksgiving and Christmas food freeze later.
Right.
There you go. See?
Right.
So, I mean, we're going to get into all of that. So I'm going to leave with this. Think about this. Not only are we going to be canning, but you can also do fermenting. You can do pickling. You can just do regular food preservation things with your fruit. So all of these are things that are falling under the category of canning. And we all need to do because these are things that we can have for whenever something happens. So think outside the box. We're going to continue the conversation, but since you're not here, I'm sorry.
Goodbye.